Born in Tecumseh, Nebraska in December of 1909. His father Adam selected the middle name Barney on purpose. He reasoned that every Oldfield since the famous mile-a-minute racing driver received that nickname, so his son might as well start with it. The driver, who was a distant relative, Barney Oldfield, was one of the country's most famous sports figures in the early 1900s and was the first man to drive faster than a mile a minute. After receiving a journalism degree from the University of Nebraska, young Barney began to hit it big with a nightly radio broadcast called Hollywood Highlights that was sponsored by the Cooper Theaters. At the beginning of World War II, Barney was drafted into the Army, where he would serve as a member of the 7th Corps Headquarters G2 section, which is where the Public Relations Unit was located. When the Air Force split off from the Army in 1947, Barney was transferred to the new branch of the service and became the chief of information for an experimental group of writers, photographers, cameramen, and broadcasters known as the Swarmers that were trained to deploy into any trouble spot. Following his retirement from the military in the early 1960s at the rank of full colonel, Barney would serve as corporate director for Litton Industries as well as several philanthropic organizations, including the Oldfield Alzheimer's Research Fund that is awarded annually to the most promising ideas in Alzheimer's research. Oldfield is memorialized in this next original march, written by a former director of the Kenosha Pops Band, Lieutenant Colonel Mark Azzolina. I'm sure many of you remember that famous name. Here's someone equally famous to conduct it, Assistant Conductor Frank Germinaro. He will lead the band in the Colonel Barney Oldfield March.